the rivalry Mary, Queen of Scots, and Elizabeth I. This narrative is proudly brought to you by Polly Speaks For You. At Polly Speaks For You, we are committed to empowering individuals, especially those with disabilities or learning challenges, through innovative text-to-speech and voice recognition technology. Polly Speaks For You is more than just software. It's a tool for self-expression, connecting people with the world in meaningful ways. By blending the richness of history with cutting-edge technology, Polly Speaks For You demonstrates that every voice, whether preserving the past or shaping the future, has the potential to inspire. While we strive to make the story engaging, our primary focus is on storytelling itself. The visuals are secondary. We're showcasing the remarkable capabilities of text-to-speech software that bring these stories to life. In the labyrinthine corridors of 16th-century European politics, the rivalry between Mary, Queen of Scots, and Elizabeth I stands as one of history's most dramatic and multifaceted sagas. Their lives, marked by shared bloodlines, diverging faiths, and the relentless pressures of statecraft, offer a vivid portrait of two queens trapped by destiny, duty, and the inescapable forces of history. A world transformed by Reformation and rivalry. The political and religious landscape. The mid-1500s witnessed the seismic tremors of the Protestant Reformation, which irrevocably altered the European political and cultural landscape. In Scotland, Mary ascended to a throne where Catholic tradition clashed with the rising tide of Protestant reformers. Her rule was complicated by factional disputes among the nobility, who increasingly questioned her legitimacy and the appropriateness of a Catholic monarch in a land turning to Protestantism. Across the narrow channel, Elizabeth I inherited a kingdom in transformation. Determined to secure Protestant reforms and establish a stable regime after the tumultuous reigns of her predecessors, Elizabeth found herself increasingly burdened by the specter of foreign plots and internal dissent. Her resolve, however, was continually tested by the figure of Mary, a legitimate, blood-connected rival with a claim to the English throne and the unwavering support of many European Catholics. A dispatch from the French ambassador in 1571 vividly captures the mood. Her Majesty Mary speaks with a voice both sorrowful and defiant, lamenting her lost crown while daring to dream of a destiny intertwined with the throne of England, a destiny that stokes the fires of both hope and rebellion in Catholic hearts across Europe. This letter set the tone for decades of intrigue and mistrust, as both queens became symbols for their respective factions in a Europe defined by its religious and dynastic divides. Bloodlines and the burden of legacy. The personal connection between Mary and Elizabeth was as complex as it was poignant. Mary was the great-niece of Henry VIII through Margaret Tudor, giving her a direct, albeit tenuous, claim to the English crown. For Elizabeth, a ruler who had fought hard to secure her own legitimacy, Mary's claim was a dangerous reminder of what might have been lost. The intertwined genealogies made their rivalry not merely a political contest, but a familial tragedy where personal ambition and dynastic duty collided. A letter from an English courtier in 1575 poignantly stated, "In the eyes of many, the blood of Tudor runs in both veins. Yet while one queen fortifies her realm with Protestant resolve, the other languishes in the embers of lost destiny, a martyr to the old ways." Court intrigues and the personal toll of power. Life at the courts, whispers and glances. The royal courts of England and Scotland were stages for both overt political maneuvering and subtle personal drama. In these opulent yet perilous halls, anecdotes of secret meetings and hushed conversations reveal much about the inner lives of the two queens. Court diaries describe a moment in which a Scottish noble witnessed Mary, Queen of Scots, engaged in a private conversation with a high-ranking ambassador. Her eyes shimmered with a mixture of regal dignity and profound sorrow, as if each word was a silent elegy for the freedom she had lost, a freedom she secretly vowed to reclaim. Such accounts remind us that behind every calculated diplomatic gesture lay a human being burdened by heartbreak and desperation. Mary's personal letters, many of which have survived in archives across Europe, reveal the Queen's inner turmoil. In one such letter, penned during a period of enforced solitude, Mary lamented, "I am both prisoner and sovereign, confined within walls that echo with the betrayals of those once dear. Yet, even in my captivity, the flame of hope burns, an ember waiting for the winds of fortune to reignite it." B. The role of ambassadors, voices from afar. Ambassadors and envoys were the eyes, ears, and sometimes the voices of the sovereigns in distant lands. Their reports provide us with intimate snapshots of the rivalry and the contrasting dispositions of the two queens. The Spanish ambassador, whose dispatches were scrutinized by both courts, noted in a journal entry from 1586. Elizabeth's resolve is tempered by the relentless pragmatism of statecraft, yet I see in her eyes the haunted reflection of her cousin's claim, a ghost that shadows every decision. Meanwhile, Mary, though confined, exudes a fervor that belies her physical chains, speaking to the soul of those who dare hope for a rightful restoration. Another correspondent from the Papal States offered his reflections on Mary's enduring spirit. Though her body may be fettered, her mind roams free, daring to envisage a Scotland and an England united under a banner of true Christian faith. Her words, even in silence, resonate with the promise of a renewal long deferred. Such letters not only reveal the political machinations of the era, but also the profound personal costs borne by these two queens. 3. Conspiracies, betrayals, and the inevitable downfall. A. The web of intrigue. As the years progressed, the political stakes grew ever higher, and the rivalry intensified amid an ever-thickening web of conspiracies. Mary's symbolic power among European Catholics made her an inevitable magnet for plots against Elizabeth's regime. The infamous Babington Plot of 1586, for instance, exposed the dangerous undercurrents that had gathered around Mary. In intercepted correspondence among the conspirators, one message ominously declared, "The Queen of Scots, though silent in our courts, speaks through her loyal adherents, igniting within us the embers of a long-awaited reformation of rightful rule." Elizabeth's spymaster, Sir Francis Walsingham, orchestrated a series of counterintelligence operations that uncovered these plots. His secret dossiers, which later became the stuff of historical legend, detailed every nuance of the clandestine communications. A confidential memo from Walsingham remarked, "Every whisper of Mary's name in these treacherous missives is a clarion call to rebellion. To allow her existence to linger is to risk the collapse of our hard-won peace." B. Betrayals and the price of legacy. The atmosphere of suspicion was compounded by personal betrayals within both courts. Mary's own inner circle was rife with duplicity. Friends turned foes, and confidants betrayed secrets in exchange for political favor. A fragment of a letter from one of Mary's disillusioned advisors, later recovered from the archives of a noble family, reads, "I have watched the tides of loyalty turn like the fickle winds. The lady's hope, once a beacon, now flickers in the tempest of betrayal. Our dreams of a united crown are dashed upon the rocks of treachery." In England, Elizabeth too faced betrayal, not only from external conspirators, but from members of her own court who secretly sympathized with Mary's claim. This duality of trust and treachery permeated the atmosphere, leaving both queens isolated in their pursuit of what they believed to be their rightful destiny. C. The final reckoning. After years of bitter entanglement in plots and counterplots, Mary's fate was sealed. The weight of evidence, combined with mounting political pressure, led to her eventual trial for treason. Despite the personal agony that must have weighed on Elizabeth, a ruler torn between duty and familial affection, the political calculus left her with little choice. In a somber communication that has since become legendary, one of Elizabeth's most trusted advisors penned, "The Queen of Scots has become more than a person. She is now the symbol of insurrection, the spark that might ignite a conflagration across our lands. For the preservation of the state, her end, though sorrowful, is inevitable." Mary's execution on February 8, 1587, was not merely the death of a monarch, it was the final, tragic punctuation in a saga of lost hopes and unfulfilled dreams. 4. Personal reflections and the echoes of history. A. Reminiscences of a bygone era. In the aftermath of their tumultuous lives, both queens have been immortalized in memoirs, literature, and the collective memory of nations. Contemporary chroniclers and later historians alike have recorded poignant reminiscences that capture the essence of their rivalry. An English chronicler writing decades after Elizabeth's reign noted, "The Virgin Queen, though triumphant in her reign, bore a melancholy solitude, a quiet mourning for the sister she never chose, whose fate was intertwined with the destiny of a kingdom she could never fully claim." Scottish accounts, passed down through family traditions and recorded in the annals of local historians, speak of Mary's resilience and the tragic beauty of her aspirations. A fragment from an old Scottish diary, penned by a noble in Mary's service, declares, "In the depths of night, as I lit the candle beside her chamber, I saw not a captive, but a queen of infinite sorrow and boundless hope, a woman who dreamed not only of crowns and thrones, but of a unity that might have healed the rifts of our divided lands." B. Literary and artistic legacy. The rivalry between Mary and Elizabeth has continued to inspire artists and writers across the centuries. Plays, poems, and paintings have sought to capture the emotional and political complexity of their lives. Elizabeth's stoic pragmatism and Mary's passionate defiance have become archetypes in the literary imagination, a duality that has given rise to endless debates about duty, sacrifice, and the human cost of power. A celebrated 17th century poet once wrote, "Two queens, one born of destiny's decree, the other ensnared by the fates of yore. One built a realm of gold and stone, the other a palace of dreams, both forever entwined in the pages of our history." These creative endeavors have ensured that the legacy of their rivalry endures, not merely as a series of historical events, but as a living narrative that continues to captivate the imagination of scholars and laypeople alike. V. The lasting impact on European politics. A. The unintended consequences. The fallout from the rivalry between Mary and Elizabeth was felt far beyond the courts of England and Scotland. Their personal and political conflict set the stage for broader European confrontations, most notably influencing events such as the Spanish Armada of 1588. The execution of Mary, Queen of Scots, sent shockwaves through Catholic Europe, where she was increasingly seen as a martyr, a symbol of resistance against the Protestant hegemony. A diplomatic cable intercepted by Spanish agents remarked, "Her demise, though a victory for the Crown of England, has sown the seeds of enmity in the hearts of Catholic powers. The flames of retribution may soon be fanned by those who see in her martyrdom a call to arms." This perception contributed, in part, to the heightened tensions between England and Spain, a tension that would erupt into one of the most famous military conflicts of the era. B. Reappraising legacy in modern scholarship. Modern historians continue to re-examine the lives of Mary and Elizabeth, challenging earlier portrayals that were steeped in bias and myth. Recent scholarship has focused on the personal dimensions of their rivalry, the isolation, the sense of betrayal, and the weight of unfulfilled destiny that each queen endured. Archival discoveries, including previously overlooked letters and personal journals, have added nuance to our understanding of these remarkable figures. One recent academic paper quotes a newly uncovered letter from an unnamed nobleman. "In the quiet moments of despair, both queens whispered to the silence of their confinement, a dialogue of hope and regret that spoke louder than the clamor of their courts." This evolving scholarship reminds us that history is not static. It is a living dialogue between the past and the present, continually reinterpreted in light of new evidence and fresh perspectives. 6. Conclusion. The enduring enigma. The rivalry between Mary, Queen of Scots, and Elizabeth I remains one of history's most compelling dramas, a narrative defined by the collision of ambition and fate, the interplay of personal emotions and public duty, and the enduring human quest for identity amid the shifting tides of power. In reflecting on their lives, we are confronted with a tapestry of contrasts: the gentle, melancholic longing of Mary versus the steely pragmatism of Elizabeth, the promise of reconciliation shadowed by the inevitability of conflict, and the enduring impact of their choices on the destiny of nations. Their intertwined fates serve as a timeless reminder that the corridors of power are often paved with both triumph and tragedy. As modern scholars sift through the rich troves of letters, memoirs, and ambassadorial dispatches, the voices of Mary and Elizabeth continue to speak, a dialogue across the ages that invites us to ponder not only the nature of power and destiny, but also the profound costs of leadership in a world defined by its contradictions. Note: many of the excerpts and anecdotes in this narrative are drawn from a combination of verified historical documents, archival research, and the creative synthesis of period accounts. While certain passages have been adapted for narrative clarity, they remain rooted in the extensive primary sources that chronicle the dramatic rivalry between these two iconic queens. If you're enjoying this story, please remember to hit like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue creating content that educates and empowers. To learn more about South Africa's leading accessibility software and to support our dyslexic-friendly initiative, visit www.polispeaks4u.co.za. Drop a comment if you want more information. Thank you for watching this video.